Welcome all to yet another episode of your favorite podcast. Today we are covering preview of the games January 25th to February 1st, as well as the coaching candidates to replace Antonio Conte at the end of the season, coaches that could take the place of Frank Lampard, who is in 19th currently, and then potential coaches to take over for Brendan Rodgers, as well as our top transfer rumors. So, Targo, it's a lot to digest today. What are you going to be digesting it with?
It's going to be one of these high noon sun sips, vodka and soda. This is a watermelon flavor. Wife says this one's the best, so I thought I'd try it out.
Nice. And I, not to match my clothes, drinking another kilt lifter, Scotch ale, down into my belly. Here it goes. Good to see that you decided to match me today, Targo.
Yeah, I couldn't help it.
Yeah, great minds think alike, I guess. Kind of like my jersey better. It's one of my top favorites of all time. So
that is a beautiful jersey there.
Yeah. So those are Brews. Let's get to some banter. Welcome to Brews and Banter. This week we got a lot of cup games, especially in England. Carabao Cup, both legs happening 24th and 25th of January, and then the 31st and the 1st of February. Southampton takes on Newcastle. Newcastle looking to win their first major trophy in 68 years. Southampton 46. Manchester United haven't won anything in 6 years, looking to end that drought. And the Nottingham Forest. It's been 32 years since the days of Harry Kane and Roy Keane. Not Harry Kane. I'm an idiot. And Teddy Sheringham. Anyways.
No arguments for me on that.
No. So that's the Carabao Cup. Not even the teams care about it, but it's a trophy to win. Next up, we have the oldest competition in England and the world, FA Cup. And it starts off with a bang. On the 27th, Manchester City at home against Arsenal for the first time this season. Woo! This is going to be a big one. Arsenal coming off beating Tottenham and Manchester United. How do you think this one's going to go?
I have no idea. Honestly. It's at the Etihad, so maybe give the edge to Man City. But man, Arsenal are playing really well. Man City just thrashed Wolves. Could go either way.
It could go either way. I'm going to go with it's going to be whether or not Arsenal's traveling fans are louder than the rest of the fans at the Etihad, because nobody knows if there's actually people in the stands. It's going to be a good one to watch. I don't know which way it's going to go. I hope Arsenal wins, because seeing a year that Manchester City doesn't win any trophies would be so fun to watch.
You think they play their starters or give some of the younger players a go?
Pep wants to win as many trophies as possible. Same with Arteta, and I think they both play all of their starters.
Okay. Could be a good one.
Yeah. We also have on the 28th, we got Preston North End against Tottenham, Manchester United against Reading, and then on Sunday, the rematch on the 29th, Brighton against Liverpool, take two. Brighton went out and thrashed Liverpool 3-0 the first time out. How do you think this one's going to go?
I want to say Liverpool make a little bit of a comeback here, but it's tough to cheer for that Liverpool team, man, or say anything good about them. They don't play well right now.
Yeah.
Versus Brighton are playing well.
Yeah. Yeah, and arguably one of the most informed teams in all of England. I think the matchup to watch in this one is Matoma against Alexander-Arnold.
That'll be fun.
Because Matoma's on fire right now, and Alexander-Arnold doesn't play defense.
If Alexander-Arnold gets the start.
Yeah. I don't know which way this is going to go. I probably am going to lean more towards Brighton since they're at home. But it all depends on if they play their starters. I mean, they want to win a trophy. That would be huge for that club. I guess I'll just say Brighton if you're going to twist my arm.
Well, I'll say Liverpool then, just to be different.
I'm different.
I'm different. I'm different.
And then probably, again, my game to watch. Because I love watching these guys.
Your boys, man. Your boys.
Rob McElhaney and Ryan Reynolds' team. Wrexham AFC takes on championship side Sheffield United at the Racecourse Ground. Man, this was going to be wild and crazy. I will be watching it on ESPN Plus to see if Paul Mullen continues his scoring streak. He's got 18 goals in 25 games. He's no Haaland, but he also plays in the bottom league in England. So pretty darn good. Should be a fun one to watch.
It's hitting like their last game, man. That was a wild one.
Yeah, it was. It's kind of all over the place. Again, no defense. So we'll see if they can outscore Sheffield United. I haven't watched anything of Sheffield United since they got relegated from the Premier League. So it'll be interesting to see. All right. And flying over to Germany for games that really matter. We have, on the 24th, we have Schalke versus Leipzig. We got last place against, what's Leipzig now? Third? Fourth?
They are in fifth.
Fifth. Wow. That was a far drop.
Now they're 1 point behind
Munich,
second.
Yeah, Bayern Munich against Cologne. 25th, we got Mainz against Dortmund. And Freiburg against Frankfurt, part 2.
Is it
they
Eintracht?
Just played each other, didn't they? No. Frankfurt played somebody else. Freiburg coming off a 6-0 loss against Wolfsburg. That was it. And then the 27th coming thick and fast. Leipzig's in playing again, this time against Stuttgart. And on the 29th, we got a big match, Bayern Leverkusen against Dortmund. That one will be a very good one to watch.
That one should be a good one.
Especially if both of their defenses don't show up again. So, and then we're going to fly over to Spain. Targo, take it away.
Spain, we have Girona playing Barcelona on the 28th. We have Osasuna taking on Atletico Madrid on the 29th. And then my game to watch in Spain is going to be Real Madrid versus Real Sociedad on the 29th. That is going to be a good one.
One hell of a game.
Madrid sitting in second place on 41 points, and Real Sociedad are on third place with 38 points. So they could catch Real Madrid here for second place.
I think more importantly, it's going to put a real dent in Madrid's title hopes if they lose this game, because Barcelona just keeps winning, and that would put a 6-point gap between the two of them.
Yeah, so this is going to be a big game for Real Madrid. We'll see if they can step up against Real Sociedad, who are playing very well right now. They've won their past couple games, and they're flying high.
Yeah,
good team to watch.
Very impressive young squad there.
And then another game to note in La Liga is Villarreal against Rayo Vallecano on the 30th. That should be a good game. Villarreal have been fun to watch. They're sitting in 5th place. Real Vallecano are in 9th. So it should be a good one.
Should be.
There's only just a few points separating the teams.
Nice.
And then where are we off to next?
Italy. We're going to go to Italy. And on the 29th, we got Milan against Sassuolo. We got newly in 10th place Juventus against Monza. And then we got the big one on the 29th, Napoli versus Roma.
That should be a good one. Roma are in 4th place now, thanks to Juve.
Yeah. I mean, Roma's been inconsistent this season. Napoli's on fire. Be very interesting to see how this one goes. It is in Naples.
Good old Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
Coach of Roma right now. We'll see what he can do.
He always has a way of pulling a rabbit out of a hat. So
he pulls it out of somewhere.
Always out of somewhere. And he talks out his ass. So just saying. Anyways, that's it for the games. Let's get to the fun stuff. So it was recently announced that at the end of the season, Antonio Conte's contract will not be renewed. He's not doing so well for Spurs at the moment. So let's speculate who's going to be the best to replace him. Targo, give me your top coaches to replace Antonio Conte.
My top to replace Antonio Conte. I think my number one has to be Thomas Tuchel. Coached at Dortmund, PSG, recently at Chelsea. So maybe he wants to stay in London, give the rivals a chance. I think he's probably the best option for Spurs at this point.
He's probably the most high profile that's available, at least. Yeah.
I mean, other than
I still don't know
Zidane,
why Chelsea fired him.
I don't either. Chelsea.
So
that was a dumb decision on their part. I think
Chelsea's being Chelsea. So,
but I mean, the other biggest, I would say, coach would be Zinedine Zidane, but I don't see him taking that job.
No.
My number two coach to take over Tottenham Hotspur would be Joachim Low. He left the German national team in 2021 and is still currently unemployed. I think he could do maybe a solid job at Spurs. I don't know if he'd lead them to trophies or anything like that, but I think he'd be a definite solid stopgap for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised he's been out of a job this long. I don't know if it's because he doesn't want to, or he's just waiting for the right opportunity. But, I mean, hey, maybe Tottenham calls in Jurgen Klinsmann and says, hey, can you be our agent on this one? And gets Low in there.
I mean, yeah, he's a World Cup winner with Germany, so he's got the pedigree there. That's a great thing to have on your resume. Not many coaches have that.
No, not at all.
And then, honestly, I think this guy would be great for Spurs if they could get him. I don't know if they can, but it's going to be Thomas Frank, who is the current coach at Brentford.
Yeah.
I think he's fantastic, done a fantastic job at Brentford. I think Brentford are going to have a heck of a time keeping a hold of him. Kind of similar to the situation of Brighton and Chelsea, how Chelsea were able to lure Graham Potter away from Brighton. I think it's going to be a similar situation. Can Brentford keep Thomas Frank at Brentford?
Yeah, I mean, not only are they going to have a hard time keeping a hold of him, but they're going to have an even harder time replacing him. He's done a fantastic job with next to nothing. And with the way Tottenham does transfers, I have to agree. You know, he would be perfect for it because he does a lot with next to nothing, and Tottenham don't like to spend money.
Yeah, so I think he'd be honestly a fantastic fit for Spurs and could probably do good things with them.
Yeah.
So those are my three to replace Conte.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with beating a dead horse. My first one is Mauricio Pochettino making the dramatic comeback, thinking he's better than Spurs. Coming back.
You think so, huh?
He himself loves that organization, and they love him. I think it's just a feel-good story as a patchwork to put a Band-Aid on a problem at Tottenham. Pochettino went to PSG, couldn't handle that locker room. The locker room at Spurs, I mean, they already know. They know Pochettino. They know how he plays. It would be a seamless transition.
He did good things with them, took him to a Champions League final.
Oh, he did fantastic things with Tottenham. So yeah. I think that would be the one way to get the team out of the dumps. Now, the real question is...
Do you remember why he left?
I'm pretty sure it was mutual because they didn't do very good for a season. It's either that or PSG wanted him. I don't know.
I can't remember.
But I think, yeah, he brought them their best success, which isn't really for most clubs a success. But we'll see. Next up, a coach that's been kind of all over the place, Peter Bosz. He's Dutch. He's coached at Ajax, Dortmund, Lyon, and Leverkusen. It's more of his style of play and his demand out of his players for me. He likes the attacking possession style but and he loves heavy pressing. So very similar to, Manchester City, Arsenal, Manchester United. All those teams are very successful. And it's the one thing and the complete opposite of Antonio Conte. It's the one thing Tottenham doesn't do, is play attacking possession style soccer. I think he'd be a great fit for a board and Daniel Levy, who wants to completely make the fans happy at this point, because nobody is happy with Antonio Conte, including Antonio Conte. And then last, I have to agree with you, man. Thomas Frank. He would be a wonderful fit for Tottenham. The problem is, can you get him out of Brentford? And then
I don't know. That's the big question, isn't it? Can they lure him away from there?
Yeah.
It's not a project he wants to take on.
I don't think money is going to do it. It's going to have to be more of a freedom to do what he wants. But he's done wonders at Brentford. I mean, they've only been in the Premier League, 2 years since getting promoted?
Yeah.
And they're already pushing for European places. So he's done fantastic. He would be a great fit. That way you don't need to bring in a lot of players, just ship out the old ones. And he makes everybody that he coaches better. So those are my top 3 to replace Antonio Conte.
Okay.
Next up, we got the wonderful job over at Everton, who is going to replace Frank Lampard if they let him go. I mean, this point, I don't know if anybody wants this job. The board doesn't have a direction. Frank Lampard doesn't have any help. This team is a mess. Who comes in and plays, I guess, janitor as the cleanup crew? Who do you got for me?
So one of the coaches I got there, I think, to kind of help that Everton team to stop the leaky goals, the 1-0 losses, maybe to start turning those into draws, getting a 1-0 lead, holding on to it for a 1-0 win. I would say Sean Dyche, former coach at Burnley. He guided Burnley to promotion, kind of stabilized that club. They were in the Premier League quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
He became a kind of a top coach there for them, helping them stay in the Premier League. They were known for that tough nose kind of defense, not necessarily the prettiest football, but they got results.
Yeah.
And I think that could be something that Everton could be looking to get here as they're in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very similar style of football to what Tottenham is playing right now.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a defensive team under Sean Dyche, but can't lose games if you're conceding goals. That's kind of his style, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
So he'd be one of my coaches to take over for Everton. Another one I have is Paulo Fonseca. He's the current manager of Lille. We're in 6th place in Ligue 1. He's a Portuguese manager who was looked at for Tottenham. Mm-hmm. There were problems with his contract, and so he never made it there with the fine print in this contract. He impressed with Braga. He earned a move to Shakhtar Donetsk, where he won 3 league titles in 3 years.
Wow.
He was at Roma. And, he plays attacking style football, so kind of the opposite of Sean Dyche, where he played attacking football, but kind of at Roma he got sacked because they letting in leaky goals.
Yeah.
So he could be a good fit. He's got that pedigree at least of, getting teams into the Champions League, giving some of these bigger teams a fight. So he could be an option. But I think, honestly, my number 1 pick for that Everton job would be Nuno Espirito Santo, Portuguese coach formerly of Wolves and of Tottenham. I think he could be a good fit. He's the current manager at Al Ittihad in the Saudi League. So I don't think it'd be too hard to maybe pry him from that league for a Premier League job. especially when like Everton, we saw what he did at Wolves. He did fantastic job at Wolves.
Phenomenal. I mean,
brought them up from the championship.
Granted, he almost built an entirely Portuguese side, but he did a fantastic job.
He did. He did a great job at Wolves. I think he's the reason why they're still in the Premier League. At Tottenham, he had a little bit of a rough go of it. Typical kind of coach for that club. They always have a rough go of it seems like.
Yeah. But
honestly, I think he would be Everton's best option right now. It would be Nuno.
Yeah, and I mean, he's going to look to spend money, and Everton board wants to give him money. So I don't see why that wouldn't be a good fit. Me personally, I guess I'll go the same way you went from last to first. I'm going to go with Rudy Garcia first. He's currently coaching Cristiano Ronaldo at Al Nassr. He won the Ligue 1 title with Lille. I know you have him under other prospects for other coaches.
Yeah, he's a good coach. You're not going to get any argument from me.
Yeah, he's a great coach. I think he would love to try his managerial career in the Premier League. It'd be a good fit for Everton with the players they have. Next up, I kind of went outside the box for this one. A guy who didn't really get a shot at Manchester United. They should have given him more time.
I disagree.
Yeah, a lot of people would disagree with me on that one. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
I think he would be better fit than at Manchester United for a club like Everton. He's currently coaching in Norway at Kristiansand BK. It'd be pretty easy to pry him away from Norway.
Yeah.
But I think for me, if they want to go after him, I mean, he's not a bad coach. I think there's a lot of pressure at Manchester United for him to succeed with what we've seen as a failing locker room. So I don't think that he did a bad job at Manchester United. I just think it was the players he had. I think he would have a similar position at Everton, but he would command more respect. He doesn't have quite as big of personalities as a United team would. And then my number one, which happens to be your number three, is Sean Dyche. The man knows how to go through a relegation scrap. He knows how to fix a leaky defense. He did fantastic things for Burnley. I think he would be the stopgap. Maybe he doesn't stay for more than the rest of the season, but he would fix a lot of problems that Everton is having right now. So I think he would be a great choice for them.
Yeah, I think he would too. I don't know about Ole. I feel like his United managerial career was very streaky. Like I remember he started off real good, and so that's why they gave him the job. He was an interim manager.
And then
as soon as they gave him that job, man.
And then they did really good, and then they did really bad, and then he got fired.
So it was definitely a roller coaster for him. So I don't know.
It's a perfect fit. Controlled chaos at a chaotic team.
No, I think it'd be similar to Frank Lampard now, if I'm being honest.
Probably. But I want to go outside the box, and I could be completely wrong, but it just seems like this board, it's something that they would go with. So
yeah. Again, I don't know if he has the experience for a relegation fight. I think that's why Frank Lampard's struggling. He didn't have that either.
Yeah.
I think a Sean Dyche would be good, like you said. Someone who's been there, knows how to hopefully stop a leaky defense and get some results.
Definitely. All right. Over to Leicester. Brendan Rodgers. Who, if he leaves, if he doesn't save Leicester from relegation.
They're not doing terrible, so.
Yeah.
Got a result here against Brighton.
So they got a long way to go.
They do.
They got to be more consistent. And to me, I think Brendan Rodgers is almost untouchable as far as the Leicester City board goes. But, I think he's come to the end of the road almost with Leicester City. So who comes in to replace him if it is the end of the road?
So for me, Brendan Rodgers, I think he should stick it out to at least the end of the season. I don't think they should fire him mid-season. I do think he'll keep Leicester in the Premier League. But if they do want to go with a change, they wait till the end of the season. My number 3 pick would be Rudy Garcia. I know you had mentioned him previously for the Everton job. He's the current manager at El Nasir, coaching good old Cristiano Ronaldo. But he had a good year in France with Lille. He won the domestic double there. Then he's had a kind of a mixture of fortunes at Roma. Then he's been at Marseille, went to Lyon. But with that Lyon team, he made it to the Champions League semifinals. And so he's kind of had an up and down. But I think he could be a good coach, Similar to why you kind of want him at Everton. I think he could do okay at Leicester.
Yeah, I agree. And I forgot to warn, the captive audience. Our clothes aren't the only thing that match. A lot of our decisions with these picks were very similar, but for different spots. So,
and then so then my number 2 coach, I would say for Leicester would be Andre Villas-Boas. It's kind of hard to believe he's only 43 years old. He's already had a lengthy management career.
I mean, what has he been around for? Like 10 years already?
Yeah, I mean,
a little longer.
We remember him at Chelsea. We remember him at Tottenham. So yeah,
I mean, I remember him at Porto mostly, but
Porto, yep.
That's also where he was the most successful. So,
and then he was also in Zenit St. Petersburg in Russia, and then went to China. His last job was at Marseille. He took him to Champions League qualification in 2020, but then he left the club after some disagreements over transfers. But yeah, I think he could be a good coach. He's got Premier League experience. I don't think you bring him in right now for a relegation fight. You have to, for him, you would definitely have to wait for the summer to have him get a full summer training with his players. Maybe bring in the couple players that he might want. But I don't think he's a bad coach. He's coached at big clubs, so I think he could be an all right fit. And then my number 1 to take over Leicester will be Rafa Benitez. He's got Premier League experience. We've seen him at Liverpool. He made the poor choice of then going to Everton to coach, where it didn't last long. Kind of knew it wouldn't last long there, being a Liverpool coach, having success with them. I mean, where else has he been? He was at Real Madrid. He's coached there.
Yeah. He's been all over the place. But I think I'm more surprised that you're picking a former Liverpool coach to replace a former Liverpool coach.
What do you mean? Brendan Rodgers. I get it now.
Yeah. I mean exactly what I said. I don't know what you want.
At Leicester, though, yeah.
Yeah.
Took me a second.
You're like, wait,
yeah.
Where did Jurgen Klopp go? I don't know.
So yeah, I think Rafa could do all right. He was at Newcastle for a while. I feel like he did a pretty good job there.
Yeah.
When they were struggling. And so he's been in that relegation fight as well. And he's been at the top as well with clubs like Real Madrid and Liverpool.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be my number 1 pick for Leicester, Rafa Benitez.
Okay. Well, I also picked Rafa Benitez. However, he's my number 3. Yeah, I think, I mean, with the style of play and the players that Leicester City has, I think he's a good fit.
Yeah, yeah.
Plain and simple. And they wouldn't have to pry him from any clubs because he's unemployed right now. But I agree. I would not bring him in right now. I would definitely wait till the end of the season. And ultimately, I don't even know if Brendan Rodgers leaves. I think he probably stays and asks for some money and sells some players and tries to completely rebuild this squad. But
I think they should stick by him, if I'm being honest.
I do too. But my second is actually the exact same as yours. Andre Villas-Boas. My thing with him, though, is he leaves every club not by getting fired, but because he doesn't agree with the board. Like, he just leaves because he's like, I disagree, and I'm gone. So I don't know if it's it probably would be for, the style of play of Leicester City, players they have. He'd be a good fit. But I don't know if he gets in one argument with that board, he's just going to leave. So,
you know who I almost said as one of these coaches would be to bring back the Cinderella coach, Mr. Claudio Ranieri.
Yeah.
Thought about him. I forget where he's off coaching at, but I thought that would have been another fun one.
It would have been fun, yeah. I didn't even think of him, but that's a great choice. I probably should have done my research a little bit better and went with him. But I'm going to go with my number one as a coach that I've already mentioned, Peter Bosz. Is the style of play. It matches Leicester City perfectly. Maybe they just need a different voice in the locker room to inspire those players to get back where they were even last season. But he's a great coach. He's done good things. He knows how to get more out of his players, and they need to press a lot more. They tend to sit back a lot, and then they get bitten in the ass at Leicester for just allowing the opponents to come onto them and trying to counter after that. So I think he'd be very good as far as changing the dynamics of their offense. So that's what we had for Brendan Rodgers. I mean, it's a great list of coaches for all three of these jobs.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, we could interchange any of these coaches for any of these spots. Tottenham is probably going to be the most attractive out of all of them, especially if you sell Harry Kane and you have $100 million sitting in the bank. You can do a lot with that. But, we'll see. Time will tell whether or not a lot of these coaches leave or not.
Yeah, make sure everyone who disagrees with us, let us know. Join our Facebook group.
If you have a better option that you've done your research on and you think would be a better fit, please disagree with us and let us know.
Let us know on
join that
Instagram,
Facebook group and
TikTok.
Start the discussion there. All right. Speaking of rumors, because that was all hypothetical, we're going to get into our top transfer rumors. So we went through the coaches. Let's get to some players. Targo, what's caught your eye this week?
It's honestly one of the ones I saw here. Wasn't this week. I think it was last week I saw it. Was Mason Mount to Liverpool. I thought that was interesting. So, he's out of his contract this summer, and apparently Liverpool are keeping tabs on him, the 24-year-old English midfielder who's currently at Chelsea. That one would be an interesting one.
I
rate him pretty highly. He's had a bit of a disappointing season here, but maybe a change of scenery would do him some good.
I think so. I also think, I don't know why Liverpool doesn't try to buy him now. Mason Mount, with the amount of players Chelsea
6 months, yeah. He's English, might cost him 30, 40 mil.
Still much cheaper than it would if he signed another contract. So, and Liverpool need new midfield reinforcements right now.
Yeah.
However, I have heard a bunch of Chelsea fans actually going on a campaign for Liverpool to buy him because they apparently are done with him. So I feel bad for Mason Mount. He's a great player. Been a little disappointing this season, but, he's still got that potential and the skill there. We know it's there. We've seen it.
And still young at 24.
Yeah. So I think it'd be a great fit. I think he would fit perfectly into Jurgen Klopp's system. It may even be a replacement for Jordan Henderson.
I don't think I see him sitting that deep.
Yeah. But he would be great next to, say, I don't know, Jude Bellingham.
We'll see about that.
We'll see. Also, apparently him and Declan Rice are best friends. So that could be a linchpin for Liverpool as a backup in case they don't get Jude Bellingham.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So, all right.
Could be a cheaper option, yeah.
Who's your number 2?
My number 2, the rumor that never dies. Harry Kane to Manchester United. Harry Kane gets rumored to Manchester United, seems like every year.
Well, we've already talked about it once on this podcast. We've only been around a couple of weeks.
Yep.
So, it's a match made in heaven. I'll be honest.
It really is.
It really is. I hate to say it. But Harry Kane, I don't think he's staying at Tottenham. So wherever he goes, the man has been at Tottenham long enough, suffered enough. Let the man go somewhere and win a trophy.
Yeah, I think so. And I think he would be that finishing touch for Manchester United.
To make them title contenders, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine instead of Wout Weghorst, he had Harry Kane?
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
I don't even want to imagine that because I don't think Arsenal would be in first place if that was the case. So, yeah. So it's a perfect fit. That's why he keeps getting linked to them. However, there are a couple of teams that are looking for a striker that aren't named Manchester United. So, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid. I mean, probably Juventus at some point, but I don't think they can.
Do you think Real Madrid goes for him with his age?
It's possible. I mean,
like
you
Real
can only
Madrid wants
imagine
younger
how many
players.
years Karim Benzema has left. It can't be a lot.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He'd be a great replacement for Karim Benzema.
Yeah. And, I mean, in Spain, I think Harry Kane gets another 5, 6, 7 years out of his career. And probably another 200 goals.
I was going to say, I thought when you said 5, 6, 7, I was like, goals a season?
100? 100?
Yeah, I think he would.
Anyways.
Then even for Bayern Munich, I think he'd be good.
Oh, God. Then we would be talking about 5, 6, 700 with a Bayern Munich side that doesn't need him but wants him. I mean, you imagine Sadio Mane, Serge Gnabry, Leroy Sané, and Harry Kane.
Kingsley Coman, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Kingsley Coman. Just make it worse. Yeah.
But he doesn't play for Dortmund or Leipzig, so he won't go there.
No. And it'll cost way too much, and they won't get him on a free. So,
yeah. And then another transfer rumor I thought was interesting was Marcelo Brozovic on loan to Barcelona and a possible swap deal with Frank Kessie. Kessié, however you pronounce that.
I believe it's Kessie, but again, however you pronounce that.
So, yeah, Barca looking to get Marcelo Brozovic, Croatian midfielder, 30 years old on loan. Thought that one was interesting. I feel like he's a little aged at 30 for them to want him to be swapped.
Yeah.
Frank Kessie.
Yeah, I believe Kessie's 26, 27?
He's in his mid-20s, yeah.
I think it would be a fantastic deal, personally. Frank Kessie played his best years of football for AC Milan. Should never have gone to Barcelona. He'd be going back to Italy to rejuvenate his career instead of sitting on the bench. Marcelo Brozovic, he's on the other end of his career. And he's pretty much just going to sit on the bench anyways for Barcelona. So it's a good fit for both.
Yeah. So we'll see if that one happens. I don't know. I'm not sure if it will. I think Barca, they want it to happen. That's why Kessie's only been there 6 months and they're already offering him up.
Well, I think the most important thing with the Brozovic deal is the wages that Frank Kessie is on versus Brozovic. And Barcelona want to get wages off the books. Maybe not just Kessie, maybe it's somebody else, but it gets wages off the books for them so they can sign other players. Ultimately. So
yeah, those are my top transfer rumors that I found interesting here.
Okay.
Past couple weeks.
All right. Well, I mean, I said it before. I'm sorry that I took all the good ones. First up for me, this one was very intriguing because it's a up-and-coming talent that you might be able to get him on a steal. It's Nicolo, what is it, Zaniolo?
Zaniolo, yep, the Italian, from Roma.
For Roma. I mean, he's just a kid, and he's one of their best players, but he won't sign a new contract. He wants to leave.
Is he 20?
Available
21?
for 30 to 40 million euros. Tottenham's being rumored with him. I think that is the piece they need. They need an attacking midfielder.
Do you know how old he is? Is he 20, 21?
He's 22, or I think he's 23, personally.
23? Okay. I remember him. He's been there for years. Like, I remember when he first came on the scene at, 19.
Yeah. And, I mean, he was compared to Francisco Totti for the longest time. And now he wants to leave, unlike Totti. So...
Not very Totti-like.
Yeah, I mean, no one's like Totti because he played his entire career with the same club. And that never happens nowadays. So
no. Can you even think of another player that played his entire career at one club?
Can I?
Yeah. Like I'm trying to think, like even Raul for Real Madrid went to Schalke at the end.
Yeah.
Frank Lampard went to Man City and then to the New York team in MLS.
I think he went to New York and then he was on loan to City because City owns New York. But it's difficult. Tony Adams. That's it. That's like it.
Del Piero. Alessandro Del Piero for Juventus.
For Inter before Juventus.
Did he?
I could be very wrong.
Because, I mean, that guy had loyalty. He went down with them when they got relegated.
Yeah.
He stayed with them.
It's hard because you get all these players at the end of their careers, they leave to go to somewhere else. So it's hard to get someone who stays all the way through and retires with a team. So, yeah. Anyways, we're
sorry to take us on another side topic there.
100%. Yeah. But yeah, he's an attacking midfielder. Tottenham need one. I think 30 to 40 million for someone of that age is a steal, especially of his caliber. And, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of other clubs that will look at him for that price. But I think Tottenham, that is the piece they need to be able to get to that next level because they haven't had someone like that since Christian Eriksen left. So, next up, speaking of Tottenham, they're looking for a new goalie to replace Hugo Lloris. They're being rumored to want to sign Jan Oblak or David Raya. Jan Oblak of Atletico Madrid and David Raya of Brentford. I mean, I think this one, depending on who they go for, is going to be dependent on if they get a Champions League spot or not.
Yeah, I don't think they get Oblak, if I'm being honest.
Not unless they get into the Champions League. There's no chance.
But David Raya could be a great signing for him. He's still pretty young.
He'd be such a good signing. Talking about like literally a 360 in goal. I mean, David Raya stops everything. Hugo Lloris can't stop anything. So, I thought it was very intriguing. And apparently, David Raya is only available. Like you only have to pay 15 mil to get him, which is a steal and a half.
That is
for a goalie.
He's 27.
Caliber. Yeah. So he's still got a solid
6 years,
7-8 years. Yeah. So, and then my final rumor, Declan Rice is apparently Arsenal's #1 transfer target in the summer. I mean, I'm not being biased, but because I saw this rumor, I also want to talk about all the other clubs that are linked with him, including Liverpool. No surprise here, Chelsea, Manchester United, and Tottenham.
Every big team in Premier League,
every big team in England. He's going to cost at least 80 mil.
Probably closer to 100.
Apparently, though, he is leaning more towards Arsenal because he's seen what Arteta has done to the likes of Saka, Ben White, Emile Smith-Rowe, Eddie Nketiah, and Aaron Ramsdale, who are all England teammates of Declan Rice.
And I know Declan Rice, he did grow up a Chelsea fan. So,
yeah.
We'll see there. And Todd Bowley's not shy about splashing some money.
Especially for Arsenal transfer targets.
Especially for Arsenal transfer targets, yeah.
So, I thought it was intriguing because essentially it's going to be up to Declan Rice to choose where he wants to go next.
It will be, yeah.
Same with Jude Bellingham. I don't know if personally, if I'm Arsenal, if you're going to pay 80 mil for Declan Rice, why don't you just go for Jude Bellingham?
I feel like Declan Rice, though, could play kind of both that Granit Xhaka and Thomas Partey position.
100%. And
whereas Jude Bellingham, I don't see him as a Thomas Partey.
No.
What is that?
I don't even know
role?
If I see him as a Granit Xhaka. He's like a hybrid between Xhaka and Odegaard.
Rice, man, he's just so athletic.
Yeah.
That he can play that position, I think, going forward. He hasn't had much of a chance to do that this year at West Ham with the way they're playing and their position in the table.
I don't think anybody would at West Ham right now.
And so, he's been their one little kind of bright spark. But, man, that guy's athletic. He can get a tackle in. He's great at disrupting that play. But, man, he can make a good run forward, too. He's smooth on the ball.
Very underrated with his feet as well. And you know what? Personally, unbiasedly, he would be the perfect fit for Arsenal and the style 100%. Of football they play.
Like, even thinking about Man United, I don't know where he would fit in at a Manchester United.
Maybe replace McFred.
But then, he's not going to – is he going to start? He's going to start over Casemiro?
No, but you'd put him instead of Fred or McTominay next to Casemiro.
Fred or McTominay don't start, though. You have Christian Eriksen and Bruno.
Well, you put Bruno out on the right, Eriksen as your number 10. Opens up a spot.
So play with two holding midfielders, kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah. But, I think, if United even want to go for him, which I don't know at this point, I don't think they need to. I think they would go for somebody that's more attacking than Declan Rice.
I think they need a forward striker.
Well, 100%. They need a number 9. Yeah. This is like a match made in heaven. It's been linked before, but no better
could be
time
good at
for
Liverpool
Declan Rice
too.
to go to Arsenal than right now. So
yeah, he would be a great fit. I think also Liverpool could use a player like him.
Yeah, but I don't think they're going to spend 200 mil for 2 players in the summer. So,
and then I know you'd mentioned Chelsea. That's his boyhood club. I don't know where he fits in there. They got Jorginho and N'Golo Kante.
Yeah, well, both of them are leaving in the summer because
a lot of them probably are. So I don't know. Maybe they go for him as well.
Yeah, it's very possible.
He's definitely leaving West Ham. Where he ends up, we'll find out.
Yeah, we'll find out. Time will tell. There's a lot of time, too, because it's only January, and this won't happen until the summer. So if I'm Arsenal, I'm trying to get him locked down, a deal agreed now, or at least in the works before summer even hits. But
kind of like that Nkunku deal at Chelsea.
At Chelsea, yeah. It hasn't been announced, but it's like the worst-known secret in all of football. So
yeah.
But, yeah, those are my rumors, and that's all I got for that.
Those are some good rumors, man. It'll be interesting to see where some of these players end up.
I do have one more thing to note is Sir Jim Radcliffe, the richest man in Britain, has publicly come out and said next month that he wants to buy Manchester United from the Glazers. The Glazers are looking upwards of $7.25 billion for United, which would be the most ever paid for a sporting team in the history of the earth. How much does this change United if you get a British person in there?
Could change it quite a bit.
Yeah. Glazer would been running them into the ground. So I think United would... they would be back to the days of old with the way Ten Hag's running them right now. So
that's a lot of money, though, man. $7 billion.
He's worth 9.8 billion pounds. So that's almost his entire net worth.
That's a lot
for one team.
That's a lot. And obviously, Manchester United are one of the most well-known clubs in the world.
Yeah.
I think didn't they earn the top revenue this year?
Great question. I know they're always near the top. So whether they're at the top or not, I know there was a few changes, so I'm not sure.
If there were a few changes, so I wasn't sure if it was them.
But they're always in the top 3. So
yeah. So there's your rumors, huh? Any more news you got to share with us?
That's it. The news is that I'm done. Out.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Brews and Banter. Make sure you guys, of course, check out our socials at Brews and Banter for TikTok and Instagram. Check us out on Facebook. Join the group. Tell us who you think you would pick as your coach to replace Antonio Conte at Tottenham and Frank Lampard at Everton. Brendan Rodgers at Leicester. Tell us what your transfer predictions are. Where should Declan Rice go? I'm curious to see that one. You know, obviously it looks like Josh thinks he might go to Arsenal. Will he go to Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United? Who knows?
Or Real Madrid or Barcelona.
Maybe he goes out of the country.
PSG.
So yeah, let us know where you think Declan Rice might go. And of course, check out our Redbubble. Get the merch. Help us keep doing this. We appreciate it so much. We really like doing this for you guys. It's fun for us. We want to keep doing it. Keep an eye out for our live streams coming up. Let us know which teams you'd like us to watch and live stream, watch with you guys. And so that's all for now. So as always,
cheers.
Cheers.